here's where we left off on Friday. On Friday, we kind of took a weird rabbit hole down into how to make a protein. So, excuse me, we got on explorelearning.com and we looked at like unzipping DNA, putting in some messenger RNA, okay, those leading the nucleus, the tRNAs bring those amino acids and making the proteins. Why proteins? Why was I all fired up about proteins? Because we were talking about G proteins. If you remember, there's two ways that hormones work. One is a membrane-bound receptor. It's like, hey, 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 and it grabs that hormone and makes the magic happen. The other is the hormone comes in, okay, and boom, makes the magic happen. Okay, can you go back to, sorry. Okay, sorry. I gotta keep them separated. Okay, all right. So here's what we got. We got those membrane bound. And by the way, I'm gonna shoot for a test on the endocrine system next week. Okay, and there's not gonna. I pay attention because there's not gonna be a Quizlet for this. Okay, so just to let you know, no Quizlet for this. Okay, so stick with me on that one. Right. Okay, so we got G proteins here, right? G proteins are the ones that make things happen, and so here's some hormones and let's talk about those a little bit more deeply. Okay, inside the brain, you've got this thing called the pituitary gland. Let me remind you where we're at. Here's the pons, here's the midbrain, here's the medulla, here's this part of the skull called the sphenoid. Do you remember greater wing, lesser wing? And what was that little thing you put your finger into? Had two words. No, nice guess. What's that? Nope, not foramen magnum. Sella turcica. That little sella turcica, if you touched it, okay, that's where your pituitary gland is. The pituitary gland looks like a nutsack, folks. Look at it. Okay, here it is. Okay, kind of look like that one we looked at earlier with the epididymis. There's an anterior side, a posterior side. Here it is. It looks very scrotal, but this thing, which is so tiny, I mean, it fits in sella turcica. Okay, that skull is like real-time skull. Like that's not like a made-up size, right? Your pituitary gland is that big inside your brain. And look at what it does, man. It's going to control two very big things to the posterior side. That's anti-diuretic hormone. Okay, what does the anti-diuretic hormone do? It makes sure you retain water. Why does your body need water? For tons of stuff, right? If you don't have water in your body, you're in big time trouble. Somebody just told me this morning, they just found out like the other day before I said this, but like that you could die from diarrhea. Okay, that's not how it got its name, but literally cholera, okay, causes diarrhea, okay, and cholera is one of the major killers in developing countries because you got to understand these people are washing their clothes in a river, getting their drinking water from a river, and also pooping in that same river. All of that's mixing together. Now it may be like they'll be like, oh no, we do that upstream or we do this downstream. Okay, but somebody's always going to be downstream from somebody else, right? Okay, so it's bad. I mean, diarrhea is a major killer, okay, in developing countries. You need to keep the water inside your body, okay, but sometimes you don't. We've all had those poops where it's like you're kind of constipated, you know, and you're like, is it going to come out? And then it finally does, and it kind of feels euphoric, right? You know what I mean? Yeah. Kind of like you're kind of grabbing a hold, like, come on, baby, right? Okay, and then there's this other that you're like peeing out of your butt. You're like, God, like, please. Okay, I know people who are never going to have a solid poop the rest of their life, and that makes me sad. Okay, but it's the fact of the matter, man. You don't have a gallbladder, it's not going to be too solid. Sorry. Okay, but that's the way it's going to go, right? I had this poop this weekend. Like, seriously, I did not know if it was going to come out. And it did. I was like, I kind of felt like this sense of accomplishment. Okay, then I drank some more water. Okay, at the beginning of the pandemic, I wanted to make sure I didn't drink so much gin. So I started drinking water a lot, you know? And so I was just pounding water, like left and right, you know, like boom. I realized I was drinking like close to like 200 ounces of water. Okay, somewhere around there. Okay, so I had to stop because literally like by 2:00, this is when I realized it was bad. Like I was not having a solid poop. Like, and it was like, I would also get kind of like this weird feeling, like I have too much water in my body, right? My body was like, dude, you've got to back off, man. You're like going hardcore in the water. Okay, we all need to drink water, right? It's very important, but like, whew, that was too much for me. Okay, backed it down. My poop was normal. Okay, your body does that by increasing or decreasing the size of those vessels, those arteries and veins, and also promotes that water retention in your kidneys. Yeah.
So when I went to the doctor for like my physical or whatever,
Yeah.
they had told me that I drank way too much water, and they told me to stop drinking as much water.
Oh yeah, man. I'm telling you, I don't know, like maybe this is too personal, but I realized it was bad. Number one, with the diarrhea, but then also like I would get these like weird, like kind of cold chills, but also like this kind of like strange, like body feeling, like, and I know it was the water because then I stopped and it was gone. I mean, it could have been the LSD too, but like, I'm pretty sure it was the water, 90% sure. But no, like, I mean, okay, oxytocin though, too, you want your cervix to go from here to here, right? So that baby comes out. That's crazy, right? 10 centimeters, right? Where's my measuring? I know. I love looking at your faces when I say 10 centimeters because people are like, dear God, are you kidding me? So here we go. Your cervix will open up this much, right? And right now, here's what your cervix looks like. You ready for this? It's about that size where the dot, when the baby comes out, it goes from here to here. That's exciting. Your brain does that. Your pituitary gland does that. Luckily, Cobalicious, you don't have a cervix. Okay, right? Okay, so anterior, that's just the posterior pituitary. And by the way, I asked Madison, I talked about this, but Madison Parson, she's in my first grade class. Her dad had a pituitary tumor, and they had to go in. They were able to remove the tumor. Okay, and once they're able to remove the tumor, they said it's not quite working right, so he's got to be on a couple different hormones to modulate this. Now his posterior was fine, but it was in the anterior. Okay, and look at all the stuff that's happening in the anterior: growth hormone, thyroid stimulating hormone, adrenocorticotropic, melanocyte, luteinizing, follicle. Like, this is a lot of stuff. I had a friend. Okay, this is a couple weeks ago. I keep talking. I know I keep telling you about this guy, but like literally came up to me. He's like, I got some bad news. I got to tell you something. I was like, what is it, dude? He's like, I have a pituitary tumor. I was like, oh my God. Like, and my first thought was, is this dude lactating? Because it's a guy. And I was like, after he kind of told me some stuff, I was like, I'm just going to ask him. I go, are you lactating? And he's like, how'd you know that? I was like, well, I teach this stuff. Number one. Number two, like, I'm curious, and he said, that's funny because my doctor asked me the same question. This guy did not start lactating. Okay. But guys, literally milk's coming out of your nips. Okay. If you have a pituitary tumor.
Okay, so on The Office, there's this one
Yes.
episode where they're having like this big race.
Yes.
And then Andy like tapes down like his nips and stuff so
Yes.
they don't get sore. Is that an actual thing?
So I used to run like mini marathons, and
It's
I
just
would
an
tape.
abrasion,
It's
isn't
the
it?
shirt rubbing up and down. Like,
Yeah.
you'll see guys like if you run
Don't
more
wear
than
your
like,
sport bra and stuff like that.
yeah.
I mean, I've always been okay, but yeah.
Yeah, I used to do that indie mini every year, and I always tape my nipples because I've literally seen guys like with blood on their shirt from
Yeah.
like, because like it depends too. Like some of those dudes are not training; they're just like, oh, I can run, 13.21, whatever, 13.1, right? Okay, and so then they come out and they're like, oh God, my nipples. That's a different. Yeah, this is literally like milk's shooting out, right? Crazy. All right, let's talk about growth hormone though. And to talk about growth hormone, we got to talk about these two people. So this is Andre the Giant. Andre the Giant became famous because he was in the WWE, but most of you don't know him from this. Most of you know him from an awesome movie. And if you haven't seen this movie, please, dear God, take time to watch this movie in the next 3 months. If you hate it, I mean, I know, like, I don't know if I've ever met anybody that hates this movie. Now you'll probably come up to me like, I hate it. Okay, but like, you may not love it, but no one, it's never like a waste of your time, right? Can you guys back me up? Like, you may not be like it's the most amazing movie in the world. I'm not saying that. The Princess Bride. The Princess Bride is the name of the movie. Andre the Giant is in it. His line is, anybody want a peanut? That was his famous line from the movie. But it's great. This guy, of course, was big because he had an overactive pituitary gland and he was shooting too much growth hormone. Now, I know some of you are like, man, I could use some growth hormone, right? And you know, some of you guys in here, like, I remember when you were like 8th graders, okay? And then, I mean, I think instantly I was thinking of like Chad Lewis. Do you remember, like, you guys know who Chad Lewis is? He graduated last year. When he was like an 8th grader, it was like this big. You know, like James Winger. I could put James Winger in my pocket when he was in 7th grade. He was just a tiny little kid. You know, now it's tall. Why? Because that growth hormone kicks in when puberty hits, right? Okay, girls, you say they for you just a little bit earlier. That's because that's that brain thing that's happening. Okay, this was, and people are like, man, I wish I could just take a bunch of growth hormone. Okay, and you can, but it's not necessarily a good thing. This is Sandy Allen. She's dead, but so is Andre the Giant as well. She was from Shelbyville, Indiana. Okay, world's tallest woman. But like, notice, like, she's got a king. Like, these people are not like basketball stars. Andre the Giant had so much pain. She used to drink pound beers like left and right just to like make sure he could like function. Okay. Also, I think he was a little crazy, but anyway, growth hormone. Incredibly crazy, makes you small. All right, let's talk for a sec. Thanks for sticking with me. Give me like a couple more minutes because I want to show you a crazy picture. Let's talk about the thyroid gland. I want everybody to find your thyroid gland. Okay, so if you could take your finger, put it on your Adam's apple. Okay, your Adam's apple, it's that pokey thing. Girls, you have one too. Okay, that's your thyroid cartilage of your larynx. Okay, right below that to the left and right is your thyroid gland. Okay, you probably can't even feel it. Okay, and hopefully you can't. Okay, and I hope none of you feel this. Okay, this is a goiter. Okay, now nobody in here has a goiter, thank God. And there's something that you ate at lunch that prevented you from having this. Okay, what's that? Pineapple? Nice guess. No, not pineapple, but I love that. I'm addicted to this stuff. Every day. Some you have every day. Salt. Yeah. And salt has become iodized. And why is there iodine in there? They put it in salt because everybody uses it. Okay. Now, not all salt has it. We found out 3rd period that canning salt does not have that. So if we hit the apocalypse and you're only surviving on your canned food items, the salt from that is not going to sustain you. Also, if you're a Trader Joe's fan, this comes back to avocado toast. What do I like on my avocado toast? Little everything but the bagel seasoning. You tried it out there, kids? I went to Trader Joe's in Fort Wayne not too long ago and asked for some because I wanted to get it. They were sold out. This is like one of the first weekends it was open. And like some guy came in and bought it all. They said thanks to TikTok. I guess TikTok made it famous there. But they have some back. It's pretty good. Okay, but if you look at some of the stuff at Trader Joe's, like I have the Himalayan salt, little Himalayan pink salt grinder, it'll say not iodized. Why is that important? I don't want a goiter, right? Now, let's talk about this. Why would I put Lucky Charms up here?
It's a good cereal.
It's a delicious cereal, right? Okay. No, you don't like cereal? Would you say that most kids love, like, if I had a group of children in here and said, hey, here's some broccoli or here's some Lucky Charms, they're going to go for the Lucky Charms. So you think, right? Okay. So let's look at the ingredients of Lucky Charms. Whole grain oats, sugar, oat flour, corn syrup, modified cornstarch, dextrose, salt. Okay. There's our iodized salt, gelatin, and then we get into some weird stuff. Trisodium phosphate, yellows 5 and 6, red 40, blue 1, and other color added. Okay, it is gluten-free, but if you're vegan, vegetarian, you can't eat this. Okay, why can't you eat this if you're vegan, vegetarian, if you're like hardcore? It's the gelatin. You know where gelatin comes from? Yeah, it's not always. It can be from horses. That's like the kind of the go-to. Like it's from dead horses. It can be from any bones from any animals. But I like to go with horses because then that makes everybody like, you kill horses, my knee. Right. Okay, but that's what gelatin is. Anything with gelatin in, that's an animal product. A lot of people don't know that. It's not the cereal that's got the gelatin in it, it's these little marshmallows. Okay, so if you go to Manchester Marketplace and just get the marshmallows, right, you're deceived. I mean, there's tons of horse hooves. What's that, man? I know it is the best part, right? So why did I put this up here? Not for the gelatin, but I like that fact. Okay, maybe for the salt, but for something else. Okay, there's something else about this. Look at these other ingredients here too. Okay, do you think all of this stuff here, okay, is coming from the oats, the corn, the gelatin, the salt? You think we're getting vitamin C from salt? You think we're getting vitamin C from gelatin? You think we're getting vitamin C from cornstarch or oat? No. Where's the vitamin C come from? Oh. Nope. They added it. Why the heck are they adding all this stuff to this cereal? Yeah, so it's nutritional, right? So kids can get this. Now, they're not marketing it as a nutritional cereal because it sure as hell is not nutritional by any means, right? Okay, but like, I don't think you realize this, but there are a lot of food products out there that have additives for a reason. They know kids are going to eat this, right? Folic acid, 50%, you're like, what the heck? Folic acid is a really important thing to have when you're having a baby. Like, your doctor will say, as soon as you know you're pregnant, you should be taking a folic acid supplement because that will help the neural development of your child, right? Okay, so I put this up there because salt, yes, has iodine. People are like, why would you put iodine in there? Okay, for the goiter thing, but other foods have that too. Thanks for sticking with me today. I appreciate it. Okay, cool, man. Cool. Any questions? No one joined me on Zoom today. I'm so sad, but Matthew, it's practically like you're on Zoom, and Josie, you're practically on Zoom too. So hi in real life.